5-Minute Mom. So more about PBS Kids today, particularly Arthur. So I'm going to drop 3 video clips in the description box. The first one is the racism clip that I've already talked about related to Black Lives Matter, or whatever, however you want to say it. It came out, I think, as a reaction to that. The second one is about masks. So just watch it. I'd love to hear what you think. And the last one is about voting. So those 3 clips. And then I'm also going to drop a link for a man who does YouTube videos, and he explains the differences in masks and why he believes there's a big controversy about wearing them or not wearing them. I do think some of it's political. I also think there's a lot of science behind it that just, you know, whatever. It basically goes back to what PBS Kids is doing for kids is what mainstream media is doing for adults. Lying, manipulating, whatever. It's a bunch of baloney. So anyway, you can check out those links. I don't think it's right for kids to learn that it's okay to manipulate someone, or I certainly don't want my kids nagging me. I'm not like a fan of that. And here's the real problem. I'll tell you a story. So when my husband was in 5th grade, so we're talking 30 years ago, his teacher said, oh, you know, we've noticed some promise in you that you're gifted or whatever. I'm going to send home this note. We'd like you to be part of an after-school club with some other kids. And we'll be talking about like current events and things that, you know, kids can learn and do about to make an impact in the world, future leadership skills or something, right? So his parents sign off on it. He goes a couple times and learns pretty much right off the bat what they're telling the kids is, we're teaching you these things, and your parents are probably going to disagree with this and say it's not right because they didn't learn it in school. So we're teaching you things that your parents don't know. So they might not understand it. They might not think it's good, but it's just because at this point you're going to know more than your parents. And yeah, I have a problem with that. So I kind of feel like that's the route PBS Kids is going with some of this. And otherwise, it's just, yeah, it's just garbage that I don't want my kids to see. So, but I'll let you be the judge, and please comment, because I really want to hear from other moms or dads or whoever about what they think of these clips. You've probably already seen the racism one for, you know, since I did that earlier, or maybe you haven't. I'd love to hear what you think about that. I'd love to hear what you think about the little clip about the masks. I'd love to hear what you think about the plan to vote video. And then, like I said, or didn't say, I think I said, I'll also link a video for a man who goes through the different types of masks. I know some of you live in an area where there is, like, it's becoming a large number of cases, and I know I did my rant on masks. I don't think they work the way we're doing them right now. I think it's pointless. If we're going to do any face covering, like, what are we doing? So I don't think they work. We don't wear masks unless we have to, because we're going in somewhere that has a sign that says it's required. And I know some people can get like doctor's notes or just push it a little bit and not go in and nobody says anything, whatever. I can only fight so many battles in a day. So I have to conserve my energy for my children. And then I know, like, there are people who, if they watched, you know, the video I link, could choose to wear a mask that would actually protect them. If they have, you know, different health issues where they would need to do that. So there you go. Yep, that's it. I'm saying a lot. Like my parents, right? They wear masks in certain situations. They also have always avoided being around crowded, public places during cold and flu season because of underlying conditions and because they don't want to get sick with the flu for 2 weeks. I think we're kind of like rounding a corner with our knowledge of COVID, that we've come kind of full circle to this is, again, a really bad case of the flu, which is what everyone was saying 7 months ago, 8 months ago. So I think we've kind of made it all the way full circle back. Now, do we want to overwhelm our hospitals with a really bad case of the flu? Probably not. Do I want to be sick for like 2 or 3 weeks or a month? No, I don't. Serious respiratory viruses have consequences. That's how it is. So anyway, check out the videos, comment, let me know what you think. The other thing I want to mention, I'm a little over 5 minutes, is it frustrates me when PBS, their shows create a problem that doesn't exist in the world, and they put that into my kids' heads. So now my kids are looking for things that don't exist, which is what I feel like feminism did to me growing up. I was all angsty and looking for a problem that didn't exist, and maybe that's just my personality. Some people say I'm still angsty. I mean, maybe sometimes. I think it's, somewhat acceptable in 2020. And, it's my generation. So, Alanis Morissette, Gwen Stefani, full of angst. So, yeah. The point is, they did this. Sorry, I'm so scattered. So, they did this video for their Hero Elementary show, which is a new show where they highlight different heroes in the past. And they did one on Billie Jean King. And I don't know a lot about her. I learned some things about her. I don't have a problem with that. She's a feminist tennis player and, did a lot for like balancing things in the world of tennis, which is fine. The problem I have with it is within the show itself, they talk about her and what happened in the past and how there were inequalities, but they also bring in these elements of like, this is still happening now. Now, forgive me if it's still happening where you live, but we've lived a few different places, and I'm not seeing it. Like in the show, this little boy comes walking down the hallway, and he's like, "They said I couldn't be in the ballet class because it's just for girls." And I'm like, no, I never see that. I mean, we've got martial arts that it's boys and girls. We've got gymnastics and cheer. It's boys and girls. Like fencing. A friend of mine has her 11-year-old daughter in flag football with the boys, and her daughter loves it. I don't know. My little girl did co-ed soccer when she was a little girl. I just don't see it. I'm not seeing it or hearing it. Like even in play, I don't hear it anymore. I don't hear terms that I heard growing up, like you throw like a girl. That didn't really bother me. Yeah, I just whatever. I mean, I did throw like a girl. So whatever. Some girls don't though. Some girls pitch well, which is what they mean, is like you basically don't throw well. I know it's not great, but whatever. No, I'm just totally rambling. Anyway, just to put it in perspective, I don't hear things like that anymore. I don't see things like that happening in the community. But when you put it in a kid's show, then my kids are going to be looking for it. They're going to be like, like, oh, I'm being oppressed. We're not being oppressed. Like, I mean, there are legitimately things we can work on in our country. But you know what? Our country is great. Like right now, compared to pretty much the rest of the world, we are great as a nation. There's always room for improvement. But, let's not discount the steps we've made by putting that back in kids' minds that they should be looking for these injustices that a lot of times just aren't there. At least I'm not saying it. Maybe you live somewhere and you can comment to that like, yeah, boys aren't allowed to do ballet at school. Also, does your school have ballet? Anyway, that's it. God bless you. Good measure, packed down, and flowing over.